You were worried that this question wasn't nice? It is nice, Tommy. What do you think of Republicans like McCain and Lindsey Graham, who have rebuked President Trump's executive order banning Muslim refugees? That's a reasonable question.
You know, I'm all for anybody standing in their truth. I do think that McCain and Graham are both incredibly threatened by Donald Trump, and I think that their relevancy is threatened, so they're lashing out. But hey, you know what? We're okay in the Republican Party. We got a lot of voices. That's good.
Right. And where do you think they stand on LGBT rights?
I know where Trump stands. I think that he's been incredibly pro-LGBT in those issues. And
I'm saying that because they're boyfriends. I'm just...
Oh.
Today's episode of Real Time with Bill Maher highlighted the ongoing challenge of modern political conversation. Sharp wit and clever critiques often come at the expense of deeper insight. During a tense exchange between Maher and his guest, the conversation touched on the contradiction of Republicans supporting Trump's executive actions after previously condemning similar moves by Obama. While the criticism was valid, the discussion stopped short of true reflection, failing to recognize that such political inconsistency exists across party lines. Maher's signature humor and his guest's passionate response delivered entertainment, but ultimately left viewers with the impression that the show prioritizes scoring rhetorical wins over encouraging meaningful dialogue. A compelling but incomplete watch.
It's likely that Trump's base, or a majority of the Republican Party, will turn against him. Great question.
Well, look, if he doesn't manage to deliver all these thousands of new coal mining jobs and to turn the economy into some magical 1950s fairyland, well, maybe 1850s for some of his fans. If he doesn't manage to accomplish a big economic lift for the folks that really were strongly for him, which are lower middle class working whites, he's going to have a lot of trouble holding on to those folks if he doesn't show actual results. You can't just tweet and bullshit your way out of it.
Right. But, I mean, he has done a lot of jawboning with corporations. You know, he would say, I've already saved jobs. Before I even got to the White House, I saved jobs because, you know, I also read that corporations are scared of him.
Call me crazy. Maybe. Call me crazy, but there's a big difference between actual job creation and policies that make the economy get lit up and a bullshit tornado. And basically, that's what all these CEO meetings turn out to be. The accounts and the stories about them are, he goes in and says, I built a great business. Did you build a great business? Yes, we're great businessmen together. It's so nice of you to be here in the Oval Office with me. And again, it's like Sam's description. This guy's Chauncey Gardner.
Yeah.
You know, I like television. There's no there.
Oh, poor you. You have to listen to all this.
I thought Rick was a Republican.
He is. Well, there's lots of Republicans who aren't on your side.
Yeah, but I'm actually a conservative, too. That's the difference between me and Trump people.
I love the self-righteous conservatives.
But
the Trump people, us Trump people, we're all awful.
When you see us all going nuts.
The discussion around Trump's executive orders, especially the controversial travel ban often labeled the Muslim ban, highlighted the sharp divisions in public opinion and the broader impact on national unity. Critics argued that such policies not only isolate certain communities, but also deepen societal tensions by encouraging fear and prejudice. On Real Time with Bill Maher, guests emphasized that these actions could lead to unintended consequences, such as an increase in violence and greater risks to national security. Rather than effectively addressing legitimate safety concerns, the measures appeared to function more as political messaging aimed at energizing Trump's base. The conversation revealed a difficult truth. Policies presented as protective can, at times, become instruments of division, weakening the very values of inclusion and equality that the nation is built upon.
Unlike everything, like overnight, like you know, executive orders, when Obama did them, were the worst thing in the world, and now the government is run by does that bother you, like that sort of like immediate, unabashed hypocrisy?
I don't know. Most presidents do that when they first come in. There's usually a lot of executive orders in reverse.
Not this much, and not after saying it's the worst thing in the world.
Right.
It was the worst thing in the world up until January 20th.
I think one of the things that Trump really ran on, one of the things people are really mad about with Washington is this thing where every 6 months, people in both parties just start saying the opposite of what they said 6 months ago. I mean, you look at what's happening with the Supreme Court right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that's a problem for both, but it's especially a problem right now. I mean, like, he says conflicting stuff in a single day. I mean, it's
Sometimes
hard
in a
to-
single sentence.
Right, in a sentence.
I've seen him do it in a sentence,
Right.
which is
So
a talent.
he's-
But I remember when Republicans were outraged when Barack Obama was picking winners and losers in the economy.
Yes.
And now we've got a president who
Right.
essentially blackmails companies in the basement saying, "I'm going to tweet mean about you if you don't do what I want." You know, it's a very different kind of picking winners and losers. But you know, President Game Show host has got a certain shtick.
I'm not going to let that.
Reshape the conventional image of political leadership, introducing a highly unorthodox style marked by bold rhetoric, strong personal presence, and a relentless use of social media. This polarizing approach was a central topic on Real Time with Bill Maher, where panelists debated its strengths and shortcomings. Critics pointed out that while Trump's directness appealed to his core supporters, his leadership often seemed to emphasize appearances over real outcomes. Policy discussions were frequently eclipsed by attention-grabbing moments and viral posts, prompting questions about the actual achievements of his administration. Still, even some of his strongest opponents acknowledged a certain authenticity in his consistent public persona, regardless of its controversial nature. The debate underscored a growing dilemma in modern politics. In an age dominated by media and perception, is style starting to outweigh substance? Next voice. The panel emphasized that Islam, like any belief system, should not be exempt from thoughtful critique, especially when examining the roots of extremism. However, they also warned against the dangers of equating criticism of religious ideas with discrimination against individuals. This conflation often leads to unjust hostility toward innocent Muslims, fueling division rather than understanding. The discussion highlighted how political rhetoric can either worsen or help ease these tensions. Policies such as Trump's travel ban were criticized for promoting stereotypes and casting entire communities as threats. Such actions, the panel argued, risk alienating moderate Muslims, key partners in the fight against extremism, while providing extremist groups with narratives to exploit for recruitment. Ultimately, the conversation called for a more intelligent and balanced approach, one that allows for honest examination of harmful ideologies without slipping into prejudice or generalizations. It challenged viewers to rise above simplistic narratives and engage in a more informed, respectful dialogue on religion, extremism, and peaceful coexistence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cut and dry. And we're done.
We never have said that there weren't other problems or other bad people and ideologies.
I wrote a whole book on what's wrong with Christianity. I mean,
Right.
it's just.
But see, that's so much. It's interesting that that's so much more popular among the white liberals. It's like, yes, we're bad.
It's being, yeah.
It's like they want that. We should get them that thing that Shiites hit themselves with. Yes, we're just as bad.
Well, there is masochism, which is attractive to some people apparently, but there's just there's the understandable problem that we see this through the lens of a beleaguered minority. When you think of what most people think of Muslims, they think of non-white people who are in our society a tiny minority, and therefore they're deserving, and rightly so, they're deserving of kind of the double protection of the white majority thinking, wait a minute, am I being a bigoted asshole here? And so that sort of self-scrutiny is appropriate, but it's just, you're not following the plot here. Islam is not a race, right? Islam is a set of ideas.
Yes.
Right, which is
a
contagious.
religion is
and we have to be able to criticize